Two couples, two webtoons, one big accusation. In July 2025, a plagiarism controversy quietly ignited on Lezhin Comics, and it didn't take long for readers to start taking sides. On one side, Shutline, a gritty noir BL about a rogue mechanic and a gang-connected businessman. On the other, FlashLight, a newer series with a rising rookie author and a Hollywood spin. And between them, a tangled mess of similarities, denials, screenshots, and stress. But this wasn't just a fight over a single panel. It was about something deeper. Where does inspiration end and imitation begin? Today, we're diving into the Shutline versus FlashLight situation. But we won't stop at the surface. We'll look at how this drama reveals bigger questions around copyright, genre, and BL storytelling. Because in a space built on shared tropes and remix culture, the line between theft and tribute can get very blurry, very fast. So, was this a case of stolen vibes? Or just two creators caught in a genre collision? Let's pause the chaos and take a closer look. Kyou, the creator of Shutline, is a well-established name in Korean BL. Their series launched in 2021 and quickly gained traction for its dark, urban atmosphere and intense top-versus-top dynamic. With over 100 chapters, multiple print volumes, and even an anime adaptation, Shutline has become one of Lezhin's flagship BL titles. Yangma, on the other hand, is a newer voice in the space. Their debut series FlashLight launched in 2024, also on Lezhin, and takes a different spin, blending Hollywood glitz with psychological tension. It follows an insomnia-ridden actor and the mysterious singer whose voice can calm him down. Though early in its run, FlashLight has already built a loyal following thanks to its sleek art and emotionally charged storytelling. Different vibes, different styles, but, to some, maybe a little too close for comfort. It started subtly, a vague but serious post on X. I've already taken all actions I can regarding the similarities between Shutline and a certain work. Tracing isn't the only form of plagiarism. I'm under extreme stress, but I will continue creating. I'll leave judgment to the readers. Kyou, creator of Shutline. No names, no specifics. But anyone familiar with the BL scene quickly connected the dots. Kyou was talking about FlashLight, a much newer series by author Yangma, also published by Lezhin. Not long after, Yangma responded with a lengthy post of their own, confirming that FlashLight had been the subject of repeated plagiarism accusations behind the scenes, stretching back over a year. According to Yangma, Kyou had privately raised concerns through the publisher, warning that the series felt too similar, and demanding that Yangma change their style after Chapter 20, or face a formal complaint. At the time, Yangma was still a student and a first-time creator. Intimidated but eager to avoid conflict, they agreed to make adjustments, reworking visual details, changing panel compositions, even holding back ideas they'd originally planned, like certain outfits or shower scenes, just to avoid overlap. But despite those changes, the accusations didn't stop. In July 2025, shortly after FlashLight returned for its second season, a second complaint was filed, along with another cryptic post by Kyou reigniting the issue in public. That's when Yangma decided to speak up. In their public statement, and in a detailed PDF comparing the scenes in question, they argue that any overlap comes from common genre tropes, not intentional copying. They say they've done everything they can to steer clear of similarity, and that they're exhausted from the pressure. Meanwhile, Kyou maintains that something isn't right, that the vibe, the tone, the compositions, and the character dynamics echo Shutline a little too closely. And just like that, fans were pulled into the debate. Was this inspiration, coincidence, or something more? Once the story hit Reddit, the reactions were immediate and deeply divided. Some readers agreed with Kyou. They pointed out specific similarities in FlashLight's early chapters, from dialogue and character positioning to certain scenes, like a shower moment that felt almost frame for frame. One Redditor wrote, "I didn't know there was drama, but I did feel an uncanny resemblance. Some dialogue is very similar. I can see why Kyou might sue." But others pushed back hard, arguing that most of the similarities fall well within BL genre norms. If we start claiming copyright over tropes, where do we draw the line? Black hair, blonde hair, controlling top, trauma flashback, shower scenes. This is just how BL works. A few readers even questioned Kyou's motives. Some called the original post vague and passive-aggressive, suggesting that publicly pressuring a younger author, without naming them, was unnecessary and damaging. This whole thing's been a terrible look for Kyou. I lost a lot of respect for how she handled it. You can tell it's inspired, but I wouldn't say it's plagiarism. Others defended Kyou's right to speak out, especially if they felt their IP was at risk. One commenter, who identified as a journalist, argued, "People are mad at Kyou for defending their IP, but from a business perspective, don't they have to say something? To keep copyright protections intact?" And then there were fans of both works who felt caught in the middle. One summed it up simply, "I love Shutline. I love FlashLight, but this just feels messy." The deeper question behind all of this? When do patterns become proof, and when are they just patterns? At the heart of this drama is one big question. What actually counts as plagiarism in Webtoons, especially in BL? Because here's the truth. In most countries, you can't copyright a vibe. You can't protect general ideas, story tropes, or character archetypes, only the specific way they're expressed. So two BLs with a controlling top, a black-haired power bottom, a trauma backstory, and a shower scene? That's not plagiarism. That's just Tuesday. In Yangma's case, they argue that every scene Kyou flagged, from character poses to panel angles, can be found across dozens of BL series. They even explain the technical reasons behind some choices, like camera angles and body positioning, citing software limitations and cliché avoidance. They say they never copied Shutline, and that they actively tried to avoid it. But if you're Kyou, that might not be enough. Because copyright law isn't just about what was done, it's about how much, how often, and whether the similarities go beyond coincidence. In US case law, for example, the judge in the Spry Fox versus Lolap's video game case said you can't copyright gameplay mechanics. But once it became clear the second company had copied bugs, menus, and visual layouts, it was game over. So that raises the real question here. Is this a case of overlapping tropes? Or a suspicious pattern of choices that feel a little too close? And does Lezhin, the shared publisher, have any role in all this? Because if the same editorial team shaped both series, then the similarities might not just be between the creators, but somewhere deeper in the system. Beyond the legal gray zone, this story also raises questions about power dynamics, not just between authors, but between creators and their publishers. Kyou is a senior, high-profile creator. Shutline is a major title on Lezhin, with multiple language versions, print volumes, and even an anime. Yangma, by contrast, was a student when FlashLight launched, a first-time creator, still learning the ropes, and navigating a competitive space dominated by veteran names. In their statement, Yangma says they were approached early on, before FlashLight even launched. The message? Your work feels too similar. You need to change it. Faced with a senior creator and a major publisher, they complied. Quietly. They changed compositions, rewrote scenes, and even held back ideas just to avoid friction. Not because they admitted guilt, but because they wanted peace. And still, a year later, they're defending themselves again. That's the part that hit readers hard. Because even if you believe there's similarity, the optics aren't great. A powerful author accusing a younger one, a shared publisher caught in the middle, and a rookie creator trying to prove their originality while under fire. As one commenter put it, this whole thing has been a terrible look for Kyou. Yangma, on the other hand, I commend. I'm sad she encountered so much hardship. And all of this is happening under the same roof, Lezhin Comics. So while this might look like a dispute between two creators, it also raises another question. How much responsibility does the platform have when it's publishing both sides of a conflict? At the end of the day, this isn't just about Shutline and FlashLight. It's about a much larger conversation in creative spaces, especially in BL. Because BL, more than almost any other genre, is built on shared codes. The controlling top, The emotionally guarded bottom, the fake relationship, the trauma backstory, the steamy shower scene. We've seen it all before, and we'll see it again. That's not laziness. It's the language of the genre, and it's part of what fans love, the remix, the comfort, the variations on a familiar theme. But when do those shared patterns cross a line? In a genre where tropes are currency, who owns what? Is it about who published it first? Who made it more popular? Who's more powerful? Or is it something blurrier, a matter of tone, structure, and feeling? As readers, we're quick to spot vibes, but vibes aren't always enough to prove theft. And in an industry where creators are constantly watching their backs, whether from lawsuits, platforms, or even fellow artists, maybe the bigger question is, what do we want creativity to look like going forward? This wasn't a fight over tracing or word-for-word copying. It was a fight over atmosphere, angles, and emotional tone. A fight over vibe. And maybe that's what makes it feel so messy. Because in BL, so many stories live in the same emotional space. Love and lust, danger and desire, trauma and trust. That's what draws us in. That's what keeps the genre alive. But as more creators enter the scene, and as platforms keep growing, the lines around originality, ownership, and respect are going to keep getting tested. In the end, maybe there's no perfect answer. Just a lot of gray and a lot of questions. I hope this pause in the chaos gave you something new to think about. Until next time, this is GPkP.